Morning. One of my subscribers, Keith, has been having a go at some sand dune watercolours. I've never found them easy. They're very delicate, but I'll have a go at a tone study. Now we've been doing some tone studies to well, we've been doing them as finished pictures, but you could do tone studies just to plan a watercolour or an oil painting or acrylic. So see, dunes are painted in a minute, and you've got this marram grass that sort of holds it all together, and that's the distance. And if we as we're coming round the sort of bay here, some shadows in the dune areas, in the like the little valleys in the dunes. So we'll have some grasses here, some grasses. Put some figures in. Stick insects. Stick figures, and just the tide line, and this will be reflecting the sky, and just something like that really. Okay, so let's have a paint. This is just an old sketchbook I used to use. It's got a little bit of tooth on the paper to grab the paint and the dry brush, and I'm going to use just sepia. Like, there's the sepia from the palette that I used. So we want very, very, very light sepia. Burnt umber's a great colour for sand. Mix with a little bit of raw sienna. But we'll have a go at that. I'm going to do this first, so let that dry. That's the distance. We'll do this sea as well. We'll put in a bit of sea, and when you do this, when you're doing sea, just leave some unpainted areas, just to show the little wavelets or waves. And then we come into the heavier dunes. So just put in a wash, and that's dry. Just so it looks like it's dry. So I just want to do a little bit of heavier. Show the grass, the little shadowy areas. I've just made it a bit even, but don't do everything the same because it will look a bit monotonous and laboured. So here we are. So something like that. Just as an aid memoir. So we'll shadow, and the shadow coming in across the beach here. So if you have the sun coming from there, maybe that'll give a cast shadow to some dunes there, and then we'll go with some good darks. Wind blown. And we're going to have a little just some little figures just coming down there, and do this sort of stuff with a hake. Okay, so that's just a little bit of a tone study, and we've got some sort of design Okay, very faint. It comes down to there. Right. Okay. Well, that gives me an idea. Not very good. I'm not working for anything. I'm just sort of inventing it. So we'll definitely dry cloth. So there's my tone study. I'll put that to one side. I'll do it. I'll use all the colours. Got my cup of tea here. Get that nice and clean with the tissue. So the colours that I'm going to use predominantly are going to be ultramarine, raw sienna, burnt umber, lemon yellow to mix in for the dark greens of the marram grass. Right, let's just put in a horizon, but fairly low. I'm painting on the back of a masterpiece. So we'll have the okay, and then some grasses. And then could be a Norfolk peach. Whether we put it on, just take it out. I might put a yacht on there, you ought to see. Right, okay, so the usual way, there's my palette, Winsor & Newton, 2-inch hake, Ron Ranson hake, Fabriano, £130. I got that from our discount, Granthams. It's 11 inches by 15 inches, whatever that is in metric. So I just wear the paper all over, so this will help it to expand evenly, and it helps to diffuse the painting, get a nice soft start to the painting. Right, okay, so that will do there. And when the paper stretches, we can flatten it. We're just stretching it out between the clips. I need a cloth. Oh, sorry, just stroke it down. Ooh, just stroke it down a bit. Enlarge, bit of a zoom. Right. So we'll have a bright day. So we'll put in some raw sienna. I'm working here from dry paint, whereas we've done quite a few with can't remember what I was going to say now. Right, now blue, nice bit of blue in there. Try to keep the hairs on the brush together. Right. So just bring it down to the horizon. And I'll mix a little bit of light red in with that, so we can just put a little bit of cloud in. A bit darker. Well, we'll see what happens to that. I'll just re-clip the paper. It's probably a little bit wet at the moment. Nice and straight. Right, as you can see, the the paper's stretched now, and I just want to, just looking at it, I think I'm going to just dry it off a little bit. Right, now soft C, just a little bit of raw sienna in with the ultramarine. It just gives us a better sea colour. I'll get all the way across here. Now that's got a bit wet there. Didn't dry out very well. Never mind. Let's just get that up there. I can scrape. I can lift out some of that. So that'll do for the. Pity that. I thought that was a bit drier. Well, we'll have to make the best of that that we can. I'll get that more of a dry. I'll just take up my horizon a little bit. Maybe if I'll take the dunes over that bit, I think. Right, oh, that's not too bad. Let's just come across here. Right, dry that. Right, okay. Now I'll put in the distant sand dunes. You need to clean the blue out of your brush. And I'm just going to use a bit of very light burnt umber, touch of blue in there, just a touch. Come up there. Right, let's if you're watching this, Keith, I'm struggling with it as well. What I'll do, I'll lift out that colour in the end, just give it like a mist on the water there. Now while that's drying, I'll just put in some bluey. I don't want any colour in that other than what I've got, so, but I want a bit of bluey sienna on there. This is sort of like a bluey green. And let's see. A bit more blue in that, I think. Because the blue, it makes it like a bit of green for these, the grassy tops on these. Well, no detail, I don't really. And then we go bluer as we go into the distance here. It's a shadowy. I've done them too even, haven't I? Oh, let's just put some there. Okay. And we'll just the edge there. Okay. So I'll give that another dry. Take your headphones off. Sorry, I should have warned you. Right, now we'll go in with the I haven't even looked at the tone study, probably because it's not very good. Right, burnt umber, bit of sienna, just a base colour. No, very faint. And we've got I want just to put it in the beach now, so the sand colour, a good sand colour is a very faint burnt umber, bit of sienna here and there, bit of alizarin, just a touch, very faint. And as you come nearer to you, you can warm it up a little bit. Right, okay, so while that's drying off, we can put in some detail in, just dry that off a little bit. Keith, that could almost be Folkestone, couldn't it? Right, some grass. So I'll use some lemon yellow in with the mix. I'm going to keep out the Payne's grey though. Put a bit of light red with that. Warm it up. So we want the grasses to show it going in a direction, like a wind-blown direction, as it would be on a Norfolk beach. And some of the grass will be in shadow, so don't overdo this. No, I need some dark green, so I'm just mixing a bit of burnt sienna and with some raw sienna as well. Blue. And I can use a bit of rigger work. Come down the shadow now and put in some heavier fronds. No darker. Still. Not dark enough. I don't want to use the Payne's grey because that could deaden this. Right, that still needs to be done in areas that it's just a bit too delicate, I think. Right, let's a bit of red then, and blue and the yellow. Alright, let's try the rigger now. We'll use a fine rigger for this. Don't want too much of this, otherwise it'll just look a bit kitchen sinky. Now warmer colours in here. Okay, now what we want in there, I'm not going to use the rigger for this, I'm going to use a small, just a small brush, a sable mix. Colour, I want some shadow, shadow. So just because the light's coming from here, which we said it was, we need to put in some shadow behind those grasses. Go a bit darker than that maybe. And then we can put some I don't think this is going to work. And we need to put in some of that, fainter than that. Right, and I'll just dry that off. I'm going to put some bit of detail, some figures and stuff on there. Right, I was going to just lift out a bit of the top of that C, wasn't I? So I don't think I've felt that. Right, let's put a bit of detail now. Bit of dry brushy stuff on the beach, just a bit darker, burnt umber, just to show some. Some unevenness on the sand. Okay, a couple of figures and a yacht. Okay. Give a little bit of might be a bit small now. Make it a bit bigger. Okay. Bit weak. They're very good, aren't they? Let's take a little bit of him out. I think he's just a bit strong. just dry those off and I'll cover him up a little bit with some grass. Apart from that, it's not too bad. Might give me a hake. Well, they're just some figures, you know, on the dunes, just strengthen this up a little bit. So dunes, especially in England, have a lot of grass planted in them to help them grow. So when the grass grows, it tends to hold the sand together. Right, okay, a bit of a yacht now. Red sail, I think. Oh, there. That's gone a little bit higher now. Right, anyway, there we are, not very good. Let's sign it and put it in a mount. Well, I've done a lot better than me, Keith. A couple of birds, there would be some birds. I don't think the dunes are too bad, just the rest of it was rubbish. Well, there we are. Just as simple as I could make it, with all the difficulties I had doing it, even having done a little bit of a tone study. But I think maybe I could have done some darker stuff in there. Maybe I will. I'll just do that now before I give up and cut my throat. Good dark, but I'm leaving out that Payne's grey. No. I'll go and cut my throat, I think. Shouldn't have done that, should I? I'll persevere with these though, because it's good practice for me. I'm just looking for another mount. Or we could probably put another mount on it entirely, a smaller mount. and just take the best bit of it. So that looks better, doesn't it? Pardon me, bird a bit heavy. I think we'll let it go at that. Let's. I won't sign it. I won't put a signature on it in there. That too. But that's a better mount, and I'm happier with that. What do you think? Shall I cut my throat and give up? No. So there's my dune, my distant dunes going around the bay. This is my experience of dunes is mostly the northeast Norfolk coast, of course. Well, there we are. Got one little figure there. What's this? Oh, however, I'll keep that. I quite like that. The shadows being cast probably a bit dark. That was a disaster. These nice little washes just left to dry. Well, with all the difficulties I had, I don't think that's turned out too bad. Thanks for watching and persevering. Bye bye.